All right. So this is the OSFA Student Employment Showcase. So a little bit about our office. So we're the Office of Student Financial Assistance. And at Mass College of Art and Design, we're committed to helping students and their families, get the resources that they need to fund each student's education, ensuring that access to your chosen field is not limited by the cost of attendance. So the Office of Student Financial Assistance, we're part of the administration and finance area of the college, and we provide financial aid services to our undergrad, grad, and certificate student populations. So a little bit about our staff. Right now, we are a staff of three. Hopefully four in another week. We're going to have another financial aid counselor. You can see on the left, we have our Director of Financial Aid, Aurelio Ramirez. In the middle is myself, Jocelyn Gomes. I'm the Director of Financial Aid Technical Services and Operations. And then on the right is Janice Evans, and she's our Senior Financial Aid Counselor, and she's joining me here today. So later, if you have any questions, Janice or myself will be able to answer them. Okay. So the typical student jobs that we hire for in our office, we call them office assistants. So the office assistant duties, they include, greeting students and families when they walk into our office, and directing any visitors to the appropriate staff member. In the past few years, we've gotten, less traffic in person in the office, but it is still helpful to know, when someone comes by who they might want to speak to. And then also, directing people to other offices on campus. So you're kind of, air traffic control. Other duties, they're like the typical clerical duties of an office, making copies, filing, faxing. You might order supplies or get us some supplies from the mailroom. We do a few mailings a year, so maybe assembling some mailings, doing data entry into our software system, shredding, any documents that have personally identifiable information on them, and then potentially posting flyers around campus. So kind of typical office jobs. Um, we might have you return emails, answer the phone, transfer calls, take messages. Um, these are things you do once you've maybe worked in the office for a year or two and you've gotten more familiar with our operations. So, you would be trained to do those things. You wouldn't be expected to, answer the phone or return emails on your first day. That's why we like to hire students in their first or second year at Mass Art so they can kind of grow in their responsibilities, over time. You would also, like I mentioned before, pick up and deliver mail from and to the mailroom. And then there might be, some additional projects, that come up throughout, the academic year. What kind of qualifications are we looking for? You definitely don't have to have worked in an office before. We just generally ask that you have a positive attitude. We like a good sense of humor. Um, we ask, typically somebody who's like successful in the job is if they're very organized, they're efficient, they're detail oriented. Um, you have the ability to like prioritize what work needs to get done first. And we like someone who can be proactive. If they see something that they could maybe work on, maybe they suggest it as a project. So, what would you learn working for our office? It's a two-way street. We want you to get something out of the opportunity as well. Um, we say that you'll learn professionalism, what it's like to work in an office environment. You'll learn all of those typical, office or clerical duties that I described earlier. You'll learn our software system, which can, be translated to other software systems that you might learn in the future. Um, and you'll learn, time management skills, how to prioritize your work, and how to work efficiently. And we think that these are all, translatable skills to other jobs in the future. So it can be a really good experience for, future roles that you might have. So how and when to apply. For the upcoming academic year, we are probably going to post one position for an office assistant starting sometime in the fall of 2024. And typically we have that employee work about 6 hours a week. We can break that up into like 2 3-hour shifts, or a 4-hour shift and a 2-hour shift, or one day for 6 hours. We can really be flexible with the person's schedule, but that's typically what we look to hire for. And we're going to start that process this fall. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you'll kind of see the process to apply. So we're going to post our open position on Interview Exchange. I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that today. The link is just massart.edu/jobs. And you'll see a button that says View Jobs and Apply. And then when you get to that page, there'll be a special link that says click here for student work study positions. So that's how you'll find all of the student employment positions on campus, including ours. And then probably beginning sometime in September, maybe after the add drop registration period ends, we'll start to review applications and we'll contact the candidates, the applicants, to schedule a brief interview. It's nothing too serious. We just think it's like a good step in the process so we can meet each other, see whose schedules work with ours, but it's not an intense interview that you have to really prepare for. And yeah, we're hoping that the person who we hire can start sometime in September or October. And that is it. So Janice and I are happy to take any questions that anyone has now. But if you think of something later, or if you see our posting and you have questions about it, you can always just email financialaid@massart.edu. And that goes for any other types of questions you have about financial aid throughout the academic year. That's the best way to reach us.